Thursday, July 20th, 2017. Just nearly 2 weeks after seeing Great Lakes Central 398 coming into Traverse City, we see Great Lakes Central GP38-2s number 395 and 396 with a RailBox high cube boxcar coming into Traverse City. After this run-by of 395 and 396 crossing River Road, I set myself up for a pacing sequence along Keystone Road. I pulled ahead of 395 and 396 to get at this shot of the train crossing Burnley Road. This road, if going uphill, leads to the Rogers Observatory, which is up the hill from here. After the run-by of the train crossing Burnley Road, I once again pulled ahead to set myself for another pacing sequence along Keystone Road. But first, I wanted to get this shot of the train going under the Keystone Road. After the pace sequence, I once again pulled ahead to this location, which is across the tracks from the Traverse City Library. During this shot, I could hear the unmistakable noises of the squealing of the wheel flanges scraping along the rails and the sound of the rails groaning while the train pulled ahead of the Traverse City Depot. After uncoupling from the boxcar, GLC 395 and 396 went in front of the boxcar and went around the passing siding, passing the old Traverse City Depot. And at the other end of the passing siding, it had to stop far enough to block southbound traffic along Woodmere Avenue, and then back up to the boxcar. After the coupling and brake hose was connected, GLC 395 and 396, with 396 leading, departed Traverse City, bound for Amerhart Lumber Company in Williamsburg, where they would drop off the boxcar and pick up the 4 empty center beams that would be waiting. Now we've come to the crossing of 3 Mile Road, and here we will see GLC 396 and 395 sweep by. And once again, we see 396 and 395 sweep by, crossing Holiday Road near Acme. After this run by, I set myself up for another pacing sequence along US 31 and M72. And I had pulled up to the crossing on Bunker Hill Road in Acme just in time for this shot. After arriving at Amerhart Lumber Company near Williamsburg, one of the machines pushed the 4 empty center beams 2x2 onto the main line. Here you see the machine that's responsible for pushing the empty center beams onto the main line. As you can see, it's one of the forklifts that work at the lumber yard. Here we see that same machine rolling the other 2 center beams onto the main line, joining the first 2 that rolled onto the main line. And as many of you know, there will be a crash right here in a few seconds. There's going to be a little crash in a second. Now, I'm sure to some of you that sounded kind of like a small explosion. Now, at this point, the cars started slowly but surely rolling by themselves toward 395 and 396. But don't worry, the brakeman had it under control by applying the independent brakes on each car. And what surprised me was that there is actually a coupler cut bar on this yellow center beam car, as you can see right here. Shortly afterwards, 395 and 396 with the RailBox boxcar still coupled behind them, coupled up to the 4 empty center beams. Then, the high cube boxcar was eased into the spur leading to the lumber yard. After the boxcar was uncoupled, GLC 395 and 396 backed up onto the main line with the 4 empty center beams coupled behind them. Then, after the train was completely backed up onto the main line, the train departed Amerhart and headed back to Traverse City. And for those of you wondering, will there be a second part to this video? Well, to answer your question, yes there will be.